So just keep an eye on that. Perfect. Thanks for that, Tama. Okay, perfect. So while the slides come up, I can just start the introduction. So today's meeting is an introduction to the Term 2 Lean Launchpad course as part of the SEEDplus Venture Creation Program. So what we're looking to do today is really give a brief overview of the program and the opportunity for you guys to ask any questions you may have related to how it will be delivered, what will be expected of you, etc. As I mentioned, we're recording the session, so if there are any issues with that, let us know. We're expecting the session will be roughly 20 to 30-minute presentation, so you should definitely be able to get some time back towards the end. And we'll also have a good period for questions and answers, depending on how thorough or not the presentation is, I guess. So just a quick introduction. My name is Rory Taylor. I'm a grants and project manager at GForce. So GForce is one of the business partners which is involved in the course design and delivery. We're an early stage investment fund and program for green technology startups. We're based out of Bratislava, Slovakia, but we have global operations. So as I mentioned, GForce has been co-creating the design of this Term 2 course alongside colleagues from Kiev Academic University, the Technical University of Varna, the Arctic University of Tromsø, and Fast Track Ventures, all of whom are on this call. And as part of this session, what we'll do is we'll look to cover the course overview, the methodology behind the course, a bit of the curriculum, the core activities, and then some logistics, and we'll give you a brief overview of what will come once the course is complete. Perfect. Okay, so we're on course introduction. So, as I mentioned, this course is part of a broader Horizon EU-funded project, which is SEEDplus, strengthening the entrepreneurial ecosystem development. And the primary focus of the course and the broader program is to equip the next generation of entrepreneurs with the skills that they need and skills which are aligned to the real world needs of startups and entrepreneurs. As part of this, we're also looking to support our participating universities, drive the creation of top quality startups out of their ecosystem. So work on this began last year with the foundation course, the Foundations program, and that was a precursor to this Term 2 Lean Launchpad course. It's probably worth noting that it's not a requirement to have taken
course introduction, building on venture creation course.
Sorry, there's someone just not on mute. So it's not a requirement to have taken the Term 1, so that shouldn't be putting anyone off. A bit of an overview on the course itself. So in terms of thinking who it's for, hopefully this will resonate with all of you one way or another. It's for participants, whether they're students or academics, who are working on or with an interest in developing deep tech innovations, and who are particularly keen to build on this knowledge and on their knowledge of how to bring those innovations to the market. In terms of why you should be taking the course, throughout the progression of the 10 weeks, it will support you to develop the market readiness of your project. You'll gain knowledge and confidence talking to potential investors, and there will also be opportunities to engage in local and international startup competitions, which will have very exciting prize opportunities that we'll touch on later for the top performing startups. Just a quick note on, I guess, anyone who's coming from the Foundations course. So the Foundations course focused primarily on providing theoretical knowledge around innovative, sustainable business models and creation of startups. This Lean Launchpad course is far more practical and it's far more participant-led. So I think that's a really key thing to note So the course is devoted to team working on innovative ideas and startups, and you'll be supported by mentors from the academic and venture capital worlds. But here, the theoretical element is probably of secondary importance behind the practical experience of yourselves and your startup teams going out and engaging potential customers via out-of-class activities. So that's really focusing on identifying assumptions and hypotheses, validating these, pivoting, and iterating your business model. And we'll touch on this a bit further as we go through sort of expectations on the course. The final thing to note, just in terms of an introductory level, is after the course is complete, there will be a handful of additional opportunities for yourselves to get engaged with. And this will range from additional pitching support to prepare yourself for the startup competitions. There will be a local startup competition. The highest performers in this will be able to participate in an international competition. And again, the top performers in that will benefit from additional support, both from the university and also from the venture capital partners, including sort of rewards such as a 3-month bespoke acceleration program for the top performing team. There's also going to be an international conference which startups can, I suppose, hone their pitching practice in. So that's just a brief overview. Tam, if we could, thank you for jumping onto the call, onto the next slide. So what I wanted to do here was just to start off this session with a bit of an introduction to what the core methodology is. So I've mentioned Lean Launchpad a couple of times, and I'm not sure how many of you will be familiar or not with this concept, but the Lean Launchpad methodology is something that was developed by an American entrepreneur, educator, and author, Steve Blank. It was piloted at Stanford University and is now sort of one of the most popular, dominant teaching strategies for startup creation and entrepreneurship. In essence, what the methodology looks to do is to reimagine how entrepreneurship is taught and to challenge some of the existing notions around what startups are, how to build them, and what an entrepreneur should be focusing on in those early stages of startup creation. The result of this, I suppose, rethinking, restructuring of ideas is a methodology that has 3 core elements, all of which we will bring into this course as well. So the first is the notion of a flipped classroom. So instead of it being seminars with lecturers imparting knowledge on the students, in this context, the focus is on participant-led learning. So driving from your own practical experiences and activities, discussion. The second element is experiential learning. So as I mentioned before, there's a preference for practice over theory. And then the final element is team-based learning. So this is really working as teams to solve difficult problems, using and testing the knowledge that you have picked up to that point. So those are some of the 3 key elements that will sort of carry us through the course. And using the methodology, what we would expect of participants is that they will conduct theoretical learning offline. So there will be a series of recorded lectures and pre-readings for you. And the priority will be practical learning through interactions and interviews with real-world potential customers for your product or services, which will help you continuously validate any of the hypotheses that we build out throughout the course of the program. Tied to this and sort of that flipped classroom model, there will be continual opportunities to play back your learnings within the classroom and have active discussion around what those learnings are. I just want to quickly touch on a few of the key elements that sit behind the methodology, just so you guys have a bit more context and understanding of where this has come from, and I suppose the foundations that Steve Blank had, which brought us to this point. So the main obstacle that he found when learning how to create a startup and teaching others to create a startup is that often startups were, particularly in the academic world, seen as smaller versions of larger companies. What his hypothesis was that instead of being smaller versions of larger companies, they're actually something completely separate. They are temporary organizations, and their primary objective is that they're designed to search for a repeatable and a scalable business model. This is very different to a large company, which already has a business model and a business plan and is focused on executing it. Therefore, the focus for a startup, instead of execution or the creation of a startup, instead of execution of a particular business model, should be the quest to find the right business model. And it's that iterative process that is the foundation of the course. So one of the key elements within the methodology is the business model canvas. So this is probably the most important tool that we'll use throughout the course, and we'll return to it on a weekly basis. The business model canvas, I'll go into a bit more detail on the next slide, but staying here for now, it outlines the main component parts which make up any potential startup or business. In essence, it would allow you as founders, as startup teams, to map out your hypotheses against the key components, and then to iterate these in a structured and coherent manner. Throughout the development and progress of the course, we would probably like to think of this as a living document that we'll return to, as I said, on a regular basis, and that will evolve using the feedback from the classroom discussions, but primarily also the insights from your real world interactions. The final two things I just want to briefly touch on here is the notion of fail fast and learn quick, and the MVP, or minimum viable product. So one of the most important things when at the outset of a startup journey, or for any entrepreneur really, is the acknowledgement that things won't always go right immediately. It is the ability to embrace the learning process is key. So that's what this methodology does. It prioritizes constant hypothesis testing, and through doing this, highlights the importance of catching pathways which won't lead you to success early on, and prioritizing the ability to pivot away from that, and to be adaptable with your idea and not just follow a one-track path. The second thing that I mentioned there was the minimum viable product. So this is really key for this as well, because what this minimal viable product will do, by the process of thinking through what this should look like and creating it, you force yourself into an accelerated learning activity, and then also having some form of that MVP will allow your interactions with end users, no matter what stage of the value chain you're at, to provide more informed feedback, and for you as, I suppose, product or service developers, to provide or to approach those interactions with a clearer idea of what you want to get out of them and how you want the interaction to be developed. So just to do a quick summary of the methodology, what it really is it's a form of breaking down the complexities of the startup building process, but doing so in a very structured way, focusing on speed, on learning, and on adaptability. And ultimately, this should lead to, in the ideal world, a series of startups that can turn into successful and scalable businesses. And we're obviously here to help you on that journey. Tamara, if we can jump to the next slide, please. We'll move on to the actual curriculum. so you guys can have a bit of a view of what we'll go through during the term. So on the right-hand side here, we actually have an image of the business model canvas, which I've mentioned. And I wanted to include that in this slide because it essentially acts as the foundation for the whole curriculum. So this will be a 10-week course. We obviously have sort of our introductory session, which is today. There will be a playback session, which will be our final session in week 10. But then weeks 2 to 8, I think it's important to note, basically follow a loop around the business model canvas. And each session will essentially spotlight one of those core components and encourage really targeted customer engagement and learning in that space. So for a quick run through of the different elements that we'll talk about, following this week's session, week 2 will focus on business models and customer development. So this, I suppose, is essentially the foundations again for the course going forwards and your startup activity. So the business model is at the core of any startup or any business and is essentially your attempt to articulate the business idea that you have and to identify the initial components and hypotheses for what those components are that you will go through and test and validate throughout the course. And those components, as you've probably caught on, are essentially the different sort of topics for the following weeks. Week 3 will tackle value proposition. So this is really focused on how to communicate the unique value of what your product or service is to your target customers and understanding what actually resonates with them. Again, the premise of this is that you can come up with your hypotheses, but until you've tested it, it's not actually worth anything. So at the outset, we will really encourage everyone to build a robust set of assumptions and hypotheses. And then through week by week, we will be testing each of those in real world situations. Week 4 is on customers, users, and payers. So this is identifying and segmenting the different types of beneficiaries and roles that they may have, and thinking about how we can gain insights on their needs, their behaviors, their different traits and motivation, and again, how can we test it? Week 5 is focused on distribution channels. So how are you going to reach the customers? What strategies can you employ, and how can you validate this? Thinking perhaps beyond just the end user, who in the value chain is an important stakeholder here, and thinking about how we go and test these assumptions with each of those as well. Then in week 6, we have customer relationships. So similarly, focus on those interactions with customers. Here, more so the focus is on how to manage and maintain those and extract the maximum lifetime value from those relationships. We then have revenue models. So that's thinking things through such as pricing strategies, revenue streams, other financing mechanisms, which are all driven towards ultimately supporting the growth of your startup idea and understanding, linked to that, how your particular market, how your particular user base and broader stakeholders will respond to that particular avenue and pathway that you've taken. The last 2 are partners and key resources and costs. So partners is linked to several of the others above. It's really taking a step back and looking at the broader ecosystem in which your startup idea will function. So who along the value chain is important to you, whether it's the suppliers, whether it's the end users, how can you leverage them? How can you best engage them? And what's the right approach to do that? Again, all of this iteratively tested throughout the course. And then the final one is key resources and costs. So this is the how, really. How are you going to execute that business model? What are the assets? What are the human resources? What are the intellectual properties that you will need? What are the investments, etc., to make this a reality? And then, as I mentioned, we'll conclude the term with a playback session. And I think it's probably worth reiterating at this point that throughout the course, the focus is on these real world environment interactions through the lens of your startup. So by the end of the 10 weeks, you should have had a huge amount of face time with potential customers, partners, suppliers, industry experts, etc. And all of those different stakeholders will be able to add massive value to your idea and significant insight. And that's really where a huge amount of value from this course will come from. And therefore, we see that playback session as a really valuable opportunity to summarize some of those learnings. And that's something which can also, by capturing that, you can also share that with your peers who are also on this journey with you, and will be a really exciting opportunity to hear what has been accomplished over the 10 weeks. Tamer, if we can move on to the next slide, I think we'll discuss a little bit around the course delivery elements. So we've kind of gone through the methodology, we've talked about the actual content. In terms of the delivery, I think I've already outlined that the expectation for the course is that it will be very participant driven. And the delivery method is in essence aligned to that and designed to support that. So there are probably two main components to the delivery. There's self-led startup part, and there's participant-led interactive seminars and breakout sessions. So number one, with the startup task, this is primarily going to be focused on the weekly activities where you as startup teams and entrepreneurs will go out, you'll engage your end users, your potential partners, suppliers, experts, etc., and you'll test your hypotheses as we've discussed on the previous slide. The second element to this is more focused learning. So aligned to each week's topic, we'll have a series of short videos and supporting online reading materials, which we would encourage you to study and to use those to inform your approach to, I guess, your market engagement activities. So that's one element. And then number two is, as I mentioned, these participant-led interactive seminars. And that's referring back to what I discussed at the start of the session with the flipped classroom methodology. So what this is, we will basically have, every week we'll have a seminar, which is an opportunity for the startups to play back their weekly learnings and to engage in active discussion on these learnings, any challenges they had, any questions, etc., with both their peers and the delivery team. And that delivery team will be a combination of academics and the venture capital startup ecosystem support partners. I think it's worth noting that on a weekly basis, as part of the requirements of the course, participants will document their learning. So via an annotated copy of their business model canvas, which I've already referenced, and also just a few brief pointers, which will be submitted just to track progress and learning and participation in the course. The weekly playback, if we want to call it that, we would encourage it to follow a particular thought process, which has 4 parts. So it starts off with number one, here's what we thought. What was the assumption or the hypothesis that we were looking to test? 2, here's what we did. What did we actually do? How did we go about testing that? Who did we engage? How did we engage them? What was the activity, etc. There's here's what we learned. So off the back of that, how has your business model canvas, how has your idea of what your startup product or service is offering, how has that evolved? And then finally, here's what we're going to do this week. So what are the next steps based on what you've learned? how will you go and approach the next phase of that customer engagement. I think the next thing to discuss here, those available materials, the online materials I've already referenced. So that topic overview videos, additional reading, weekly activity briefs. These will all be stored both on the SEEDplus program page, which you should have a link to, and if not, we'll share that round. And on the Kiev Academic University for their participants, it's on their own internal platform. Some additional opportunities which will support this learning. We'll have a weekly Grill the Leader workshop. So this will, in essence, be a series of 30-minute talks led by successful entrepreneurs and business leaders in spaces relevant to the course. And these will showcase success stories and offer a chance for you as participants, as the audience, to question these leaders, these successful entrepreneurs, related to your own ideas, your own challenges, and their experiences, how you can learn from those. So I think those will be an incredible opportunity as well. Expectations, I guess this is probably of interest to everyone. Between the seminar and the Grill the Leader sessions, this will be 1.5 hours. And then in terms of the outside of the class activity, this we would recommend to be anywhere from sort of 2 to 4 hours, depending on your capacity and how actively engaged you can be in these. Obviously, the more that you can put into it, the more that you will learn. Those out of class engagements will be a hugely valuable resource. So, but that's just our rough guidelines. And then we would, I think, as I mentioned before, expect a weekly progress update, which will be uploaded to your respective university portal, or again, the SEEDplus platform, according to which institution you're, I guess, carrying this course out with. The final thing on here, just to touch on, is startup ideation and team building support. I suppose different people on the call will be at different stages of this. So some will be coming in with already established teams and startup ideas. Some will be coming in with ideas but no teams, some with neither. So we do have a platform which will support any team building activities. Again, I believe we'll be able to share the link round afterwards if you haven't already received it. And this will be an opportunity for you to upload any ideas you have, or see others with ideas who are looking for teammates, and you can build, I guess, your co-founding team through that platform. So Tamara, if we can move on to the next slide, we'll just discuss some of the logistics. That's perfect. So on here, I think the key things to note, on a weekly basis, what we will do is we will look to have a recurring session, which is the same time, same duration every week, to make everyone's life a lot easier and avoid any scheduling clashes. So the seminar will be at 5 p.m. every Wednesday, that's 5 p.m. CET. And as discussed, the next seminar will be on business models and customer development, and the supporting materials, those online content, will be published on the platform, on the SEEDplus platform tomorrow. The Grill the Leader sessions will be every Thursday, again, at 5 p.m. CET. However, just to make it a little bit complicated, there's a small exception for the first week, and the first Grill the Leader session will be held on Monday the 19th at 4 p.m. CET, just because we had to do a small rearrangement. But from the following week, it will be, as mentioned, Thursday, 5 o'clock CET. On that Grill the Leader session, just a bit of an insight. So the first session will spotlight Rivellino Montenegro. So he's a serial entrepreneur, inventor, international speaker and author. His area of specialization is medical devices, material sciences, biomimetic and nanotechnology. He's founded a number of international companies and co-invented various products. So it should be an incredibly exciting, interesting session, and we'll provide a bit more info on that. I think invitations have already gone out, but if not, we can follow up with some more content on that as well. Further logistics to cover off are term dates. So the term is basically split into two sections just to account for holidays. We have stage 1, which begins this week and will go up until the week beginning the 18th of March. We'll then have a 2-week break. And then the second phase, which would be a 4-week phase, will go from the week beginning the 8th of April up until the week beginning the 29th of April. There's one other thing which is probably worth mentioning here, which I've just dropped into the slide, the Boost Camp event. So Boost Camp is part of a parallel Horizon funded project, which we're collaborating with. So this is a student startup workshop, which is going to be held in Varna in Bulgaria from the 23rd to the 25th of April. And it's designed to support founders on their commercialization journeys. That's just a quick heads up that will be happening. We will absolutely follow up with a bit more detail on that and the opportunities for you guys to get involved. But as sort of a partner project, we would absolutely encourage sort of synergies between the two and taking advantage of that. The final couple of bits on here, just to reiterate that all of the seminars, the breakout sessions, etc., will be delivered in English. And in terms of course recognition, it's probably worth noting that this will be slightly dependent on which university you again are taking this course through, whether this is actual credits or whether this is certificate that will acknowledge the time and commitment that you put into this course. I would just suggest that you kind of confirm the details of this with your respective institution and academic contact even. Tamara, if we can pop on to the next slide, which this will be our second last slide. I'll stop talking soon. So this is really focused on what comes after the course, which I think is an incredibly important part of it, because these are the opportunities that will be opened up to you through your active participation. So I've already mentioned that Boost Camp event, which will be the 23rd, the 25th of April. Beyond this, I would say the first major opportunity which comes out of the program is the local startup competition. So this will be held in mid-May, and towards the end of the course and in the few weeks that follow between the startup competition and the end of the course, we'll be hosting some additional pitching support. So that will be with both the academic partners and the business partners, just to help your startup, you as speakers, founders, etc., to hone how you would want to present back within that local competition. Towards the end of June, there will be an opportunity to pitch at the Cloud Earth Eye conference. So this is separate to any of the competition activities. This is just an added value opportunity to hone your skills within an international context. And again, we'll provide more detail on that closer to the time. In September, October, we're still just ironing out the finer details on dates for that. We will have an international competition, and this will be exclusively open to the top performers from that local competition. So this will be a really incredible opportunity for those top startups to come and present back as part of a demo day, which will be hosted in Portugal. And the startups will pitch to a handful of different stakeholders with some incredible prizes, which I alluded to earlier. And these range from personalized introductions to VC investors. So I guess very important for any startup, to a bespoke 3-month acceleration program for your startup, which will be delivered by GeForce and Fast Track. And then also, there will also be the opportunity to gain access to 6 months worth of prioritized access to your home universities, research labs, facilities, equipment, etc., to support particularly your startup idea, product, services development. So that's just a bit of an overview of some of the following activities which you'll be able to gain access to. And then if we just move on, Tama, to our last slide, which is just a very brief recap of all the partners who've been involved within the design and the creation of the course and the broader program. So I just wanted to say that we've had, within the core design and program delivery, we have 3 academic partners, which is Kiev Academic University, the Technical University of Varna, and the Arctic University of Tromsø, which I assume is where most of you are coming from. We have our 2 business partners, GeForce and Fast Track Ventures, both in the VC startup support space. So we're really looking forward to adding our value on your journey. And then at the bottom, I just also wanted to reference the other partners within the SEEDplus program who've helped to make the course happen. So we have Impact Hub, EIT Raw Materials, and the National University of Kiev Mohila Academy. So I guess I just wanted to have this up here. Thank everyone for their involvement in making this happen. And that's it really. So that concludes the presentation. A big thank you for your time, for staying involved, for listening. I think, Tama, we can probably stop sharing the screen. Thank you very much. And if anyone does have any questions, happy to open the floor up.
Rory?
Yeah.
Maybe I can just follow up quickly with some logistic things. Just to make your life easy, because now we see that we are different people that coming from different ecosystem. We created one page. It's one landing page that all of you can use. And in this landing page, you will find all the information that you need for. So maybe I can share my screen just to see quickly. This is a landing page. Maybe I can like enlarge it a bit. Now you see my screen, right? Good. So this is actually the landing page. So all the information that you need here. So this is just a very quick welcome message for you. So if you are not registered yet, you have the opportunity to either register on the program using the Cloud RSI, just this link. This will give you access here to register, or if you already registered, you can just log in. If you would like to join from Kiev University, you can register here. So the link here is existing for the people who would like to register from Kiev. You welcome to use either this one or this one. Both are the same. So if you are from Egypt, from Turkey, from any country, and you would like to use Kiev University registration system, you are more than welcome. If you are from Kiev and would like to use the Cloud RSI registration system, also you are more than welcome. Then you have an opportunity to build the team. And here you find the link to build the team. So again, maybe I am not logged in. Actually, maybe I can try to log in. So if my computer is just slow. It's a bit slow, but maybe I can, yeah, here it's. Anyway, so if you are using this link, you will come here and then you can find members. So here you can find all the members who are registered in the course. So far, they are 26 members. You can go to the form, and here you will find only this program, the SEEDplus program. You just click here, and this is the 8 companies, the 8 startup ideas that so far submitted. You can just log in. Once you are logged in here, you will find here like a form in order to post your idea. So once you post your idea, you will be here in this list. So for example, if I go to the idea of maybe Mrs. Rawan from Egypt, I think. This is about geological material. You can see here the description of the idea. And here, if you are logged in, you can put comments. So if you are looking for a team, if you are looking for opportunity, you can just put here a comment. Hello, I am interested to join this team. Is it okay for you or not? If you are don't have any team yet and you don't have an idea, you can just post a post that you are from this background, you are studying material science, for example, you don't have an idea and you are open for opportunity. So this is a place where all the people can meet and can change and start to build up the team. And again, you can find it from here. To make your life easy, all the sessions, the grill leader session and the session of the lecture itself will be posted here. So just click here, you will be in the Zoom. So if you are missing the Zoom link or you are missed the email that we sent you to remind you with the Zoom link, just press here and you will be there. And then if you would like to get the material, the teaching material, here you have like drop-down box. This is a project aim. Here the what you will get from this program, who is eligible to join this program, the program structure here in detail, the same thing that Rory explained, like the 10 weeks, the different module in the 10 weeks, and the Boost Talent workshop and the conference. So everything is here. And here you will find again the links. So the Zoom link that you are used today is here. And here, once we finish our meeting today, I will upload the record and you will find the record here. You will find the teaching material, the courses, everything. You will find it under the course material. But also, if you are would like to use the canvas of the Kiev University, you can log here and you can log to the canvas and you will find a copy from this teaching materials there. And finally, for the homework and the exercise, as Rory said that each week, maybe we will ask you to have like one simple sheet to say what you did or reflect on what you learned over the last week. You have here an opportunity to just prepare this document, just drop it here and submit, and we will have it and we will receive it. So that's all from the logistic part. The second part, maybe just to highlight, because as Rory said, maybe I can stop now sharing. As Rory said, this is actually one program from a bigger program. It's called Clouders Eye. And actually, there is a lot of benefit for all of you to get into this program. First of all, knowledge. You will get certificate. Maybe you will win the national competition. You will make contact. Maybe you will win the international competition and this 3 months free acceleration, which is a big prize. But also you will get under the radar of the Clouders Eye. And this is a very good opportunity because we have like good connection with business partner, with EU organization, and we have information from them, regular information about opportunity, about startup competitions, about maybe opportunity to raise fund and so on. So since you are registered here, you will be under this radar, and then we will send you all the opportunities that we have in our hands. So I think that's all from my side, and I think the session may be back to Rory, and if there is any question from our colleague here.
Yeah, so very much, I think I've run through the content that I've listened to. So if there are any questions, we're all ears. Also, feel free to follow up after the session if you have no questions at the moment. I'll give it a little pause to see if there is anything. And if there's not, I'll assume it was just a very comprehensive overview.
I just posted, and also Olga posted the website, the landing page for the project online. So if you didn't register yet, you can just go register and go on. If you would like to start your team, you can go and start your team there.
Brilliant. So it looks like we don't have any specific questions. So I think we can probably wrap the session.
We have
Sorry.
actually Basma and Olga.
Yeah, Basma and Olga. Basma, do you want to go first?
Hi, everyone. I have one question. First of all, thank you very much for your time and for this presentation. Thank you, Dr. Tamer, also for your time. My question is actually if can I stay as a one team until the end of the competition, or it's a condition to be with another to make a team, or can I stay to the end of the competition as one in my group or for my idea?
So my understanding of this, and I'll just double check with the other partners, but I think the premise was that we would look to try and encourage everyone to be in a team of at least 2 people. So I would suggest it would be good to at least sort of make sure that you have your idea posted, published on the platform that Tamer has showed us. And then I think we can probably internally sync and maybe just drop you a quick note afterwards to confirm on that one.
Maybe I can comment here, Rory. I think you are welcome to be like one person in the team, but please put your idea just in order to make the people. I think you already upload your idea, but once we start the course from the next semester, next week, you will find you will need someone, because regardless your background, you need a business person who try to develop with you the business plan, or someone who do marketing, or someone who do communication. So this is, I think, the value of the startup. Any startup need a team, like a leader, person who has like a big vision, but they need people around him or her in order to reach out and to implement things. So you are more than welcome. You can have like you only in the team, but once we start the course, you will discover that, okay, you need someone.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Olga?
Yeah,
please, Rory. Yeah, I think Rory has a comment before.
No, I was just going to hand over to Olga.
Okay, please, Olga.
Thank you, Rory, for a very detailed and clear presentation. I just have a couple of technical questions, let's say. Do we use the same Zoom link for the Grow the Leader session and for the mentoring session? So for the both of them, we use that same link on Cloudosary.
Yes, actually, this is just to make the life easy for everyone. Instead of creating, instead of creating a new Zoom link, it will be the same Zoom link, but just as a reminder, one day early before the session, like our next session will be Monday, like Sunday, I will send a reminder with invitation to the link again.
Okay, perfect. Then I would kindly ask you to maybe have a moment with me via the email to get the full list of participants to include into the invitation. And the second, are we expecting the students next week to come with a kind of a first home assignment, or are we just planning to get acquainted and to listen to their idea presentations? What are the expectations for the next week?
Yeah, I don't know, Rory, maybe you are contributing here?
No, I'm happy to take the floor here. So I think based on, I think we're aware that some of the teams are still being built out. Some of the teams are sort of developing ideas, etc. What I think would be the best approach would be, based on your understanding so far, to have a first attempt at starting to populate that business model canvas. And in that way, what we can do is we can use the session to flesh that out, as opposed to starting from zero entirely. So I think having that canvas pre-populated will also support you as founders, as startup teams, to understand exactly what it is that you're trying to do and how to go about achieving that. So I think if you could come with that first version, an idea of what you want to test, etc., that would be incredibly helpful.
Perfect. Thank you, Rory. This is all from my side.
I can't see any other hands popping up.
Maybe quick comment, Rory, generally, like the value here of these things. I was involved with, I am scientist, so I am not entrepreneurship. So I am scientist, and I just involved in such a program of supporting startup and so on since maybe 1 year, 2 years or so. And the value that I can see is that there is many teams who are coming to such a programs with no idea at the beginning, but they are intelligent enough, active enough to do their work, and they succeeded to move from opportunity to opportunity to a third opportunity. And we succeeded in Clouders AI over the last 2 years to accelerate companies that really reached a lot amount of money. So I can give you the number that we have 5 companies that we accelerated, and they raised something like 8 million euro. So don't underestimate what you are doing. It's easy busy. It's, you know, it's very easy. It's like 1 hour and a half per week, 2 sessions, 30, 45 minutes or so. Maybe maybe a little bit of work, like 1 hour work, 2 hour work at home. But the value is big. So you will correct yourself, you will correct your idea, and then step by step you will win something. And I think here in our teams that we have, I think there is teams that already go through this process, and they already involved in other competition, and they know that the value is coming by, as Rory present, you know, fail quick in order to learn much. So by failing, by try to make something and then you didn't work for some reason, you struggle here, this is actually the learning outcome is coming from these things.
Yeah, definitely. And just to build on that very quickly, I think having the structure of something like the business model canvas helps you identify the gaps. So if you're just at the early stages of your idea, you can see where you're really confident in what you're going to deliver, and where you're a little bit less confident, and where you could possibly supplement your skill set with someone else to identify a good co-founder, etc. So it's hopefully designed to be an iterative process that will really help you make some significant progress in your ideas and to build out some potentially really exciting startup companies, ideas, etc. So personally, I'm very excited to see where the course goes. I know the other consortium members are, and I hope you guys are as well. I'd just say then, if no one else has any comments, we can probably wrap up the session. Thank you again for all of your time, and looking forward to kicking everything off again next week. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye.
So thanks, Firin, thanks, Olga. I think Dr. Muhammad is still here with us, Hasib, and other people still. So thank you for this. It's late evening, but I think it's very good, and I think it's good, and we'll see what will happen next weeks.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Good start.
Yeah, good start. I think Olga, just one logistic question. When they upload their homework or exercises, they will use the same link for the Canvas, right?
Yes, this is the Moodle platform.
Okay. So I just will copy the link again here in order to give them, to inform them. Yeah, good. Yep.
And I will send you the list of emails I have.
Super.
To check, maybe some of them are not registered through the Clouders AI and they're not.
Yeah, and then I can keep them informed with, yeah.
I have an internal, let's say, chat in Telegram where we communicate with them very quickly, but then when you have it in your calendar, it's easy not to miss it.
Yep, good. And of course, you can also use a message and resend it in on Telegram or
That's how I did it this week.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Good.
Thank you.
Good, super. So
Good evening and see you tomorrow.
see you tomorrow.
Bye.
And thank you for meeting, Tamara, and we'll see maybe next week.
Yeah, welcome, Sulen, and see you next
Okay.
week. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.